Hey guys, welcome to Cosmic Magic. Today we're going to dive into the new moon solar eclipse energy happening on December 4th at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. So another eclipse. We just had an eclipse 2 weeks ago in Taurus, and now we are having our second eclipse in Sagittarius. So the last time we talked, we had the Taurus eclipse, and that was the beginning of a new cycle of eclipses on the Taurus and Scorpio axis. Now we're going to wrap up the Sagittarius Gemini energies that we've been going through for the past year and a half or so. So this eclipse will end that cycle officially. So it is a new moon, so a new beginning, but also a ending, since this is the end of this energy. It more so a culmination, I would say. So everything that we've gathered, all the experiences that we went through during this cycle is coming to a culmination point. The lessons that we have learned were coming to a big realization, or more so I feel it's going to manifest in some way in the 3D. And it might be something small. This is just the beginning, after all, of this new beginning, right? But it is, I think, going to be a positive culmination of some sort, a gift, a blessing. Jupiter rules Sagittarius after all, so there's definitely going to be a feeling of optimism and hope for the future as we move ahead in this new path, in this new direction. But it is, again, just a reminder, the beginning. So we're not going to get $1 million dropped in our lap right away. But I think we're going to get a glimpse into the future and some kind of gift or reward or blessing might show up for us to show us that we're on the right path, we're moving in the right direction, and to keep moving forward. Another reason I say this, well, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I have mentioned it's a new moon, so that means the moon and sun are conjunct each other in Sagittarius, because that's the new moon, where the new moon is at, Sagittarius new moon. And it is actually conjunct Mercury as well. So that's why I said we're going to get a glimpse, an insight, some kind of insight that's going to, again, show us that we're moving in the right direction. And again, I think it's going to be an overall perspective, right? An aerial view, a glimpse. It's not going to be detailed or focused, and that can scare us a little bit. We could feel a little confused still because we just don't know where all of this is going. But we are, like I said, going to get some kind of blessing that I think is going to keep us hopeful and optimistic and continue to take steps to move forward in that direction. So that is what's going on right in Sagittarius, in the sign of Sagittarius. Then Saturn is sextiling the sun and the moon, and Saturn is in Aquarius. Again, more air energy, bringing more insights, innovation to our future plans and goals. And it is Saturn after all. So again, that is talking about long-term planning, long-term building, long-term manifesting. And let's see, yes, so the other thing that's going on with Saturn, that's been going on forever, is the Saturn and Uranus square. Saturn and they've been having this ongoing conversation all year. They will have an exact square again later on at the end of the month, and that's definitely pointing to change. It's been pointing to change all year long with their two previous squares, and then this one wrapping it up. Again, another culmination point at the end of the month that I think coincides with this solar eclipse. So something may come to fruition either now at the solar eclipse or during this Saturn-Uranus square at the end of the month, or anywhere in between. Also, another kind of same scenario is Venus and Pluto will be conjunct later in the month. And that's the same kind of transformational energy. Pluto is speaking to huge transformation, right? Rebirth of some sort is probably, is what is speaking to. And Venus, rules in this regard. I think it would either affect our emotional world, but also our finance as well. So same thing, something could come to fruition now at the solar eclipse or at the time of that conjunction. Or all three. You might get a little bit of sprinkled throughout the month. Basically, December is a month of transformation in one way, shape, or form. Let's see, what else do we have? The only other big aspect that I'm picking up on is that Neptune is square the sun and the moon. So Neptune has that dreamy quality to it, and with it being square the sun and the moon, we could become overly optimistic. So Jupiter is a very optimistic, hopeful energy, right? And it's a solar eclipse, so it's even amplifying that energy tenfold. And we might get that insight and that gift and become like over the top, like, oh my gosh, it's happening, it's finally happening, whatever you've been building and working on. And we might be overly optimistic in the fact that we kind of start dreaming things up in our head, and expecting that $1 million next week, and it doesn't happen. So again, remember I mentioned Saturn. It's a long-term, slow building process. We're at the beginning, we're not even building the foundation. What I really feel like is happening, what occurred over this year and a half in the Sagittarius and Gemini axis of eclipses, is that we were changing our mindset, and we were just really reworking the way the things that we believe in, and just internally, externally, so that we could then transform our external, right? So we were definitely working on the mental plane. Venus has been involved a lot too, so that was the emotional plane. I think as we move into this Taurus and Scorpio axis, we're going to now manifest and build what we've been transforming within ourselves. And it's going to show in the external. So this solar eclipse is a new beginning so that we can move forward into that building process to build that foundation. And again, it's going to be slow, at least a year and a half, because that's the cycle of the Taurus Scorpio eclipse, but it's going to continue even further on, of course, from there. So those are the big aspects. There's, of course, some other things going on. Mars is still in Scorpio, approaching the South Node. I think that's just asking us to continue to release and move forward with our heart's desires, and transforming and transmuting whatever it is still that we need to move past in order to create this new beginning. Yeah, I think that's the short and sweet of it, really. It is obviously a big energy because it's a solar eclipse. I would definitely, it's fiery energy. You could get overly passionate. Not that passionate, there's anything wrong with being passionate, but overly excited. Again, that's Neptune energy speaking to that. So just try to stay calm and cool and collective, right? I think some big positive energy could come through. So, soak it up, and stay in the moment, be mindful of it and appreciative of it. And that'll only bring more blessings towards us, right? Okay, so I wanted to share the crystals that you could work with during this time. So we have Lapis Lazuli that can help us when those moments of insight come, or the blessings that come through that I said, remember, they could be small. Lapis Lazuli can keep us aware and mindful of any new things that come through, whether it's a dream or you know, if you're in meditation, you could definitely use this during the time of the full moon. But again, I think it's going to manifest in the external, but there's plenty of things in the external world that we don't pay attention to, right? Because we're not being mindful. And I think Lapis Lazuli can help us remain mindful and see what is actually right in front of us that we're not really paying attention to. Okay. We also have Specular Hematite. This guy's a little small, but you can see he is very sparkly. So hematite in general is a grounding stone. So it can help us maybe not get too overly excited, right? But specular hematite in particular connects the crown and the root chakras. So whatever we are working with in spiritually, but also within our mind, we can then ground and manifest in the future. It's helping to connect both, you know, and bring the energy of source down into the 3D, into Mother Earth. We also have green fluorite. These guys are tiny, so I'll try to show them to you. That's going to help us remain focused on the path ahead and give us some clarity. Remember, I said right now it's kind of a big perspective, and we might not understand all the details yet. Fluorite, green fluorite can help us remain clear, and when you're clear on things, you can remain calm and cool and collective, right? So that's kind of what that can help us with. Like I said, it can also help us remain focused if we feel down the road, because these crystals can be used from now until the next eclipse, which isn't until the end of April. So, you know, by the beginning of April, we might be frustrated. We don't understand where we're going yet. We could work with this fluorite to help us stay focused and determined and remain positive that we are moving in the right direction. Or if we somehow get off course, again, fluorite could help us move or redirect, shift a little bit where we need to go. All right, we also have Tiger's Eye. Tiger's Eye is going to help us remain confident in that path. Again, if we start to feel a little insecure about where we're going, or why isn't this making sense? Why am I doing something that doesn't fully make sense yet? Tiger's Eye can definitely help us remain confident and, yeah, again, determined to stand in our power and our strength, what we value. It definitely can activate the solar plexus, help us keep moving towards our goals. Aventurine is going to be that hopeful energy. It's going to help draw in abundance. It's going to help us remain positive and optimistic, that Jupiterian energy. It's also going to help us follow our heart, right? Remember to remain heart-centered in our goals. And then the last one, I know there's a lot this time around because I guess it's a solar eclipse and I felt we needed a ton of extra support. Sunstone is going to be a lot like Tiger's Eye in the fact that it's going to help us with our confidence. Also with the Aventurine, it's going to help us remain positive and optimistic. But it can also connect us to our life force energy, our magnetism, again, drawing energy towards us. And yeah, just so that we can stay active and energized and in the zone, essentially, as we make this huge transition. It is really a huge leap, almost like a paradigm shift. We are moving from one way of being to another way of being at this time, especially this next 6 months. So those are the crystals that I have. The only other thing I'll do is pull a tarot card so we can round out the energy, see if anything else wants to come up or if we have anything that wants to be reiterated. All right. The Emperor. Well, if that's not building a new life, I don't know what is. So that is definite boss energy. Right? Strategizing, planning, building. You're in charge. That is definitely speaking to the tiger's eye and the sunstone, that in charge energy, moving forward, step by step, building, creating. Yeah, even Saturn in the background. Again, that long-term goal, that long-term building, creating, manifesting, building the foundation, and going from there. That is totally appropriate for this energy. I love it. So the key to this, the downfall to the Emperor is that we get kind of cold, or we get too narrow-minded, right, on our goal, too focused on our goal. I would just be mindful of that. But again, this is that beginning phase. I think we want to anchor in that energy. We want to be confident in ourselves that we can pull this off, that even though it might not fully make sense in the moment, that, you know, we're owning our strength, we're owning our power, we're owning our heart's desires, and are deserving of moving forward in that direction. And I think that's what this is implying too. In the future, once we have manifested and grown some things, we can then shift energy into a little bit softer of an energy, but it's asking us to stand strong basically right now. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. I will see you in 2 weeks for the full moon in Gemini. Until then, have a great 2 weeks.